Today on Rappler, an investigative report links Senator Manny Villar and San Juan Representative J.V. Ejercito to offshore accounts. The Supreme Court rules the party list is not limited to marginalized sectors. And the U.S. Navy faces a 58 million peso fine for damages to the Tubataha Reef. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism reports Senator Manny Villar and San Juan Representative J.V. Ejercito hold secret offshore corporations in the British Virgin Islands. The group earlier released a report linking Amy Marcos, the daughter of late dictator Ferdinand Marcos, to a secret offshore trust. In the second report released Friday, PCIJ says Villar is the beneficial owner of a business corporation called Awesome Dragon Holdings Limited. Ejercito is a director of a company called Icebell Properties Limited, formed on July 8, 1999. In a written reply to the PCIJ, Villar admits to being, quote, the ultimate shareholder of Awesome Dragon Holdings Limited, but says, quote, it's dormant and so it has remained up to now. But PCIJ says their findings show the company remains active as of April 2, 2013. Ejercito denies his directorship in Icebell Properties Limited and questions the timing of the story. He says, it's highly suspicious considering the ongoing electoral campaign, of which I'm one of the leading contenders among the UNA senatorial candidates. Both Villar and Ejercito did not report their links with the offshore companies in their statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth, or SAL-Ns. In his reply, Villar says Awesome Dragon Holdings Limited does not appear in his SAL-N because it's owned by Fine Properties Incorporated, which he has already enrolled in his SAL-N. But PCIJ reports Fine Properties does not appear as a shareholder of Awesome Dragon Holdings. President Joseph Estrada and Vice President Jejomar Binay spearhead UNA's campaign for its local candidates, most of them sons, daughters, a nephew, and a former girlfriend. Ayi Makaraig reports.
Magaling po si Green. Mas magaling sa akin sa taas Green. So, yun na lang natin kaya ipapakuha ko.
For the opposition, it's family first. The United Nationalist Alliance kicks off the local campaign period in its home turf, visiting the bailiwicks of its top leaders. After the grand rally of former President Joseph Estrada in Manila, UNA senatorial bets visit Laguna, San Juan, Makati, and Tarlac. In Laguna, UNA endorses Estrada's nephew, Governor E.R. Ejercito, for re-election. But it's in San Juan where things heat up. Estrada raises the hand of his son, senatorial bet San Juan Representative J.V. Ejercito, and gives full support to his mother, re-electionist Mayor Gia Gomez, one of Estrada's girlfriends. The former president's granddaughter, Janela, is also running for councilor. The mayor of San Juan for 17 years, Estrada defends his dynasty, saying it delivers not just votes, but also services.
Like here in San Juan, natuloy. At ang programa ko, I was the first one who put up the first municipal high school here. Si JB naman put up the first college here. Put up the first Agora market here. Si JB naman put up the first hospital here. May continuity.
Yet there's a flip side to family politics. Ejercito earns the ire of brother Senator Jinggoy Estrada over reports he snubbed his daughter Janela, a charge Ejercito denies. Jinggoy is Estrada's son with his wife, former Senator Loy Estrada.
Sana huwag na yung igamay, yung anak ko, ano man yung lumamay.
Senator Estrada also skips the rally. Unlike his father and brother, he is not supporting former Executive Secretary Ronaldo Zamora's congressional bid. Family cracks also show in Tarlac. Even if senatorial bet former Governor Tingting Cojuangco and husband former Congressman Peping Cojuangco led the province for years, Tarlac is known as the bailiwick of their nephew, President Aquino. UNA, though, counts on a sweep in Binay country. Makati is home to 3 Binays running in May: Senatorial bet Nancy Binay and re-electionist Mayor Junjun Binay and Congresswoman Abigail Binay. If they all win, there will be 4 Binays in government.
Linawin lang natin yan, ha? Kahit manalo yung dalawang kapatid ko, yung isang kongresista at isang senador, hindi naman ibig sabihin nun na hawak namin ang kongreso. Ang mga kapatid ko ay isa lamang sa mga kinatawan, halimbawa sa Senado at sa Kongreso.
The Binay say Makati's progress shows what they can do at the national level. All in the family. Una counts on the machinery and popularity of its dynasties. But with the complex dynamics of local politics, supporting the same candidates is not always a family affair. Ayi Makraig, Rappler.
President Benigno Aquino makes a second trip to Laguna to campaign for Team Pinoy's local candidates. He demolishes Una candidate, incumbent Laguna Governor E.R. Ejercito. Natasha Gutierrez reports.
President Benigno Aquino visits Votrich Laguna for the second time since the start of the campaign. But this time his approach is markedly different. From focusing on national candidates of the opposition, he now shifts to slamming local opponents as the race in the province heats up. Aquino wants to unseat the incumbent governor and replace him with his own bet. The president attacks Laguna Governor E.R. Ejercito, the candidate of the opposition United Nationalist Alliance, for supposedly senseless projects.
Ang engkanteng plano po kasi nila, magbukal ng lupa sa isang bahagi ng Laguna Tibay para mas maraming tubig daw ang kayanin itong lamnan. Subalit ang nahukay pa ng lupa, ililipat lang din sa kabilang bahagi ng lawa. Nasa lawa pa rin. Napakagaling po ng kanilang plano. Ang magiging resulta, di lamang bilyong-bilyong pisong mababaw sa lupa, mananatili pang nasa peligro at kawalang katiyakan ang maraming Pilipino.
He pushes hard for his candidate, 4th District Representative Egay San Luis.
Kung tunay na pagmamalasakit sa bayan at kapwa ang pag-uusapan sa totoong buhay ko at hindi sa mga pelikula lamang, kung buo mo ang tiwala ko sa susunod ninyong gobernador, si Egay San Luis.
Team Pinoy's second visit to Laguna makes sense. The province is the 5th vote-richest province in the country with 1.5 million registered voters for 2013. In 2010, it backed Aquino's presidential bid as well as Vice President Jejomar Binay's candidacy. Binay is one of Una's leaders. In Una's visit here a few days earlier, the coalition expressed confidence it would win because of Ejercito's influence over the province. Team Pinoy is confident of its chances too. Aquino uses his projects in the last 3 years as leverage to convince Laguna to support him again. Will it be enough? Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Laguna.
Rappler's editor-at-large, Marites Vitug, talks about old politics that dominate the fight to rule the country's capital, Manila. Here's her video blog.
Two old men refused to ride into the gorgeous sunset of Manila Bay. Joseph Estrada, who turned 76 soon, and Alfredo Lim, 83. One is a former president convicted of plunder but pardoned and a loser in the 2010 presidential race. The other is a former policeman, one-time senator, and a mayor for 12 years. At their age, when most people wind down and live in grace, they chose to cut each other's throat to rule Manila, the seat of power and a city of past grandeur. Manila has been left behind in the Good Governance Index. In 2010, the Interior Department rated Manila below average. The city needs a fresh mind, a lot of innovation and imagination. So where's the successor generation? What we're seeing now is old politics that is turning out to be a proxy battle between President Aquino and Vice President Binay, and perhaps a step towards 2016. But who wins Manila does not necessarily win the country. This is Marites Vitug for Vitug Vlogs.
Voting 10 to 2 to 1. The Supreme Court rules the party list is not only for marginalized sectors, debunking an argument the Commission on Elections used to disqualify 54 party list groups for the May 13 polls. In a decision written by Justice Antonio Carpio, the court says, quote, national parties or organizations and regional parties or organizations do not need to represent any marginalized and underrepresented sector. Those who agreed with the decision are Justices Teresita Leonardo de Castro, Arturo Brion, Diosdado Peralta, Lucas Bersamin, Mariano del Castillo, Roberto Abad, Martin Villarama, Jose Perez, Jose Mendoza, and Marvic Leonen. Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno and Justice Bienvenido Reyes dissented. The Supreme Court also remanded all 54 petitions of disqualified party list groups to COMELEC. Of the 54, 13 petitions are from party list groups which were granted a status quo ante order but failed to get a mandatory injunction from the Supreme Court. Their names were excluded in the ballot for May. In 2001, the Supreme Court earlier defined the party list, saying it caters to the poorer sectors. In effect, Carpio reverses this with the new ruling. Reacting to the Supreme Court ruling on party list groups, Commission on Elections Chair Sixto Brillantes says COMELEC will repeat the screening process for the 54 disqualified groups.
Well, I don't like it that much. Pero since we have already limited it to 123 and it will not go up anymore to 123, okay na rin. It is a good compromise decision.
Brillantes adds they will first study the ruling. If COMELEC fails to finish the hearings before Election Day, the public may still vote for party list groups with pending petitions. But if COMELEC disqualifies these groups, the poll body will not count their votes during canvassing. Months after a new People's Army ambush in La Castellana, Negros Occidental claimed 9 lives, families of the victims continue to grieve and pray. Carmela Fonbuena reports.
Tawad ko na sila, kaya lang hindi ko na gusto nga gawin pa nila sa iba. Pag may sasakyan ng may mga sibilyan, mapatayin ka agad. Napakasakit na mga gaya sa amin ngayon lang ang nagbubuhay sa amin.
Erlinda San Joselito spent the night helping the cops secure a barangay fiesta. On their way home, Joselito, a cop, and 7 others were killed in the January 27 ambush by the New People's Army.
Pinadmitir sa LPC, NPA, ngiti tuyo kapag ambush sa mga tropa sa kapulisan sa La Castellana.
Because Joselito is a member of the Barangay Peacekeeping Action Team, the New People's Army doesn't apologize for his death. The rebel group only recognizes 3 victims as civilians. To them, Joselito and the rest of the victims were legitimate targets. But Erlinda and Arlene do not really care about the prolonged war between the military and communist rebels.
Sana kung ano man ang nais nila na iparating sa kinaukulan, sana doon na lang nila iparating yung para sa kanila, yung asawa namin parang mga ibon na basta-basta na lang babarilin. Pagkatapos, hihingi ng tawad. Ganun na sana nila kadali lang.
Erlinda and Arlene are not alone in their grief. Many others have lost their loved ones, soldiers, rebels, civilians, to this conflict that has run for 45 years. In Negros Occidental, the communist insurgency persists.
I hope and pray that our passion for peace will never waver, so that no one de la Cruz shall ever be a victim of any form of atrocity or oppression, that no one de la Cruz shall be witness of another gruesome La Castellana massacre.
We're talking here about Asia's longest-running insurgency, the recent collapse of the back-channel talks between the government and the National Democratic Front means peace is still a long way to go. Carmela Fonbuena, Rappler, Negros Occidental.
The Philippines will ask the U.S. Navy to pay fines of about 58 million pesos or about $1.4 million over the damage it caused to the Tubataha Reef. Tubataha Park Superintendent Angelique Sonco says the USS Guardian damaged about 2,345.67 square meters of the reef when it ran aground on January 17th. Sonco says the amount is, quote, but a slap on the wrist, as the salvage operation has been estimated to cost close to $45 million. The Tubataha management earlier said it will serve the U.S. Navy a formal notice of violations once the damage is assessed. The United States says it's taking, quote, all necessary precautions after North Korea moved an untested medium-range missile to its east coast Thursday. Seoul's Defense Minister Kim Kwan-jin says the missile could reach a, quote, considerable distance, but not the U.S. mainland, telling lawmakers it, quote, could be aimed at test firing or military drills. It was the latest move by North Korea after weeks of issuing a series of threats. White House spokesman Jay Carney says the threats fit a, quote, regrettable but familiar pattern of North Korean behavior. South Korean intelligence sources reportedly identified the North Korean missile as an intermediate-range Musudan.